Newham, of course, is one of the Olympic boroughs, and when the Olympics was won, there was an awful lot of attention paid to what the expected legacy might be. From where we are now, just a couple of weeks before the Olympics starts, how do you see that actually working out in practice? What sort of legacy do you think is going to be left in the borough?
The long-term legacy would certainly be that we have some facilities that weren't there before, in terms of the most obvious being the stadium and the aquatic centre, the park, the whole layout, the athletes' village, some more housing stock. Even within the housing stock, we're looking at accessible units for people with disabilities. So there's some positive outcomes just from the physical infrastructure. I think there's a psychological impact about the investment in East London. I hope that there's a growth pole effect and that, you know, there's some positive feedback there in terms, but we're very clear as a borough that this is just one of our big regeneration projects. We have other things that, you know, need to sustain. From the Olympics point of view, though, I think because it's obviously an international brand, both in terms of the Olympics and Paralympics, it is about saying that Newham is a place to do business in. And to make that sort of rather strapline thing a reality, we need to ensure, as I say, that we constantly strive to make certain that the employment offer is as varied as possible. The most immediate effect, I hope, on a young population, which is one of the reasons I think the bid was actually won for East London, very young, very diverse population, is that we can possibly show the rest of the United Kingdom that there are facilities in terms of sports and entertainment industries, that there's incubator projects, that we're having a whole series of initiatives as a borough in terms of social enterprise and cooperative models. We have a thriving economy in terms of small, medium enterprise communities, like for Green Street being a centre of Asian international fashion. So it's about not just the Olympics being a very clear sporting occasion, but it's that international dimension. As I said earlier on, we're a very diverse community. The diversity doesn't extend, or doesn't stop rather, for the fortnight or so of the Olympics and another fortnight for the Paralympics. We are diverse anyway, very young population. We are looking at how not just those facilities, but that legacy, that confidence, that growing confidence among particularly young entrepreneurs would be then translated into realities. That may come back, if we go back to a previous discussion we were having, in terms of how ESF and other funding streams may be usefully utilised to extend the offer. Particularly, I'm very excited in terms of not just the sport, but the cultural heritage, the ability of young entrepreneurs to actually develop arts, fashion, media, other small businesses, electronics, microelectronics. So I think the sectors are growing. And of course we've got a growing hospitality industry, which has been really made quite huge because of the Olympics. I'm saddened that you said it's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I'm saddened that more people aren't staying within the borough, but we have enough hotels now, I think.
From the end of 2014, there'll be a new ESF programme. The debate is starting now as to what its priorities should really look like. From your point of view, how would you like to see programmes like ESF developing into the future?
Well, ESF support is very important to us locally. I mean, I'm biased because I'm a borough councillor. I would like not so much, because I think control is quite a strong word, but certainly more influence on where those targets, and possibly some joint setting of targets with the programmes. We are working closer together in partnerships. We've over the years worked far more closely with health providers, for instance. If I just take health as an example, I think I said, from my perspective, one of the things that I've been personally interested in is how we have closer working relationships with mental health, and our local strategic board is looking at mental health and employment with those with mental health episodes and issues. So if there was, for instance, an ESF programme which would support our work on that, it should dovetail in. So I'd like it far more locally, not administered by us, because that's not the nature of the beast, it's not the nature of the animal, and it's quite right that there's a separation. But the accountabilities may be separate, but the closer working on the ground would be quite useful. That's why things like the groundwork stuff has actually been innovative and been useful to us to examine from the borough perspective. We can learn lessons from it, but our experience over the last, particularly the last 5 or 6 years, is that the best programmes are where the targets are not imposed centrally, or dare I say it, from the EU level, but are quite specifically in a Newham context. That's going to be hard because it's about a changing population, but by definition, if there's flexibility and clear accountabilities and joint targets, I think the programmes are more sustainable. That's my experience.
Councillor Wilson, thank you very much indeed.
Well, thank you for your interview. Very good. Thank you.